Okay, just for a second, imagine you woke up this morning knowing exactly what was going to happen for the next 24 hours. And I don't mean some vague horoscope style prediction, I mean crystal clear, play by play detail. Sounds like an amazing superpower, right? But what if it was also a terrible burden? That's exactly what we're going to explore through the story of one man who lived it. So, this is the big question. What if you could see the future, but only for one day at a time? It seems kind of perfect, doesn't it? It's enough time to actually do something, but not so much that you're totally overwhelmed by knowing everything. As we're about to find out, though, even just 24 hours can feel like a lifetime. All right, let's jump in and meet our guy. His name is Karim, and his life is about to get, well, complicated. And it all kicks off on what feels like just another totally normal day. The first thing he sees when he wakes up is just unbelievably specific. It's not a dream, it feels more like a memory that hasn't happened yet. He sees himself at his desk at 3 p.m. on the dot, getting some really bad news. Can you imagine how that would feel? You have to go through your whole morning just waiting for that clock to hit 3. So as his day gets started, Kareem's just trying to wrap his head around this. Is he losing his mind, or was that vision real? Well, he quickly finds out that the 3 p.m. phone call isn't the only thing he somehow knows about the day ahead. And then, bam, little things start happening. Things you wouldn't even think twice about normally, but they're happening exactly as he saw them. His coworker Sarah spills her coffee. A little fender bender happens right outside his office window. The manager calls an emergency meeting. Each one of these little predictions coming true is just another tick of the clock, building the tension for that 3 p.m. phone call. And then it happens. Right at 3, the phone rings. The news is just as bad as he feared. His mother's in the hospital. But here's the incredible twist. Because he knew it was coming, he'd already done something. He'd called her that morning, begged her to take it easy, and asked his sister to check in on her. So the crisis still happened, but the damage was limited. He was ready for it. So let's break down the rules of this strange new power of his. He can't see, years into the future. It's strictly the next 24 hours. And every morning, it's like the system reboots. The old future is gone, and a new 24-hour forecast downloads into his brain. This limit is what makes his whole situation so intense and so very, very difficult. So once Karim finally accepts that this is his new reality, the whole game changes. It's not just about passively watching the future anymore. Now he's faced with this constant, crushing choice. Should I try to change what's coming? He actually starts running little experiments. Monday, a huge win. He sees his neighbor is going to be in a car accident, tells him his brakes sound funny, and boom, disaster averted. But then Tuesday, he sees a coworker is about to get fired. He tries his best to intervene, to help him out, but it doesn't work. Some things he starts to realize are like freight trains. They're just too big and moving too fast to stop. He has power, yeah, but he's definitely not all powerful. And this ability starts to take a serious personal toll. This knowledge becomes a heavy, heavy weight. He can't sleep because he knows he's just going to wake up to a whole new list of things to worry about. He's totally isolated. I mean, who could he possibly tell about this? And the sense of responsibility is just crushing. Every bad thing he sees feels like it's his fault if he can't fix it. After weeks of these smaller tests, Karim is about to face his biggest challenge by far. This isn't about a spilled coffee or even a single car accident anymore. The stakes are about to get much, much higher. One morning, he wakes up to something truly terrifying. It's a vision of a gas leak, an explosion, and an entire apartment building just consumed by fire. He sees it all, the faces of the families, the absolute tragedy that's about to unfold. The clock is ticking, and dozens of lives are resting entirely on his shoulders. And this is the real problem, isn't it? I mean, think about it. What would you do? You can't just run to the police and say, "Hey, I had a vision." They think you're crazy. Or even worse, they might think you're the one who planted a bomb. He has the one piece of information that can save everyone, but he has absolutely no credible way to share it. But this is where all that experience pays off. He doesn't panic. He gets clever. He knows he can't reveal the real reason he knows, so he creates a believable story. First, he makes an anonymous call to the gas company about a leak. Then, he triggers the fire alarm to get people moving out of the building. And in the middle of all that chaos, he goes door to door, personally urging people to get out. He couldn't change the future directly, so he manipulated the present, and it worked.
After this incredible event, saving all those lives and carrying that secret completely alone, Karim starts to really reflect on what this power has taught him. He realizes it was not just about seeing what was coming, it was about the wisdom he gained from it. And in that quiet reflection, he has his first major breakthrough. He realizes this ability, it was never a gift. It was a test of his character, of his judgment, and his humility. It forced him to really think about the consequences of his actions. He also figures out that for every action, there's a reaction. Every tiny change he makes sends ripples out into the world that he can't see or predict. He understands now that every single choice comes with a cost, whether he sees that cost or not. And this leads him to his most profound realization of all. Maybe true wisdom isn't about knowing the future. Maybe it's about knowing when you should step in and, just as importantly, knowing when you need to step back and just let life happen. Now, that is a lesson that any of us can learn. No superpowers required. And then, one day, just as suddenly as it all started, it's over. He wakes up, and there's just nothing. Silence. The future is a complete mystery again. And you know what he feels? Not panic, not fear. Just this overwhelming sense of peace. The burden was finally gone. And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question for you. After seeing everything Karim went through, the anxiety, the impossible choices, the loneliness, you have to wonder, in our world, where we're so obsessed with predicting and controlling everything, is it possible that the real gift, the true blessing, is the beautiful, terrifying, and wonderful mystery of simply not knowing what comes next?